The last time we were all together, it was National Orientation in Portland, Oregon, and a bunch of us joked that it was kind of like summer camp for food kids. I had an amazing time, but I was also completely terrified. I looked around at all of you and everyone who had all this agriculture experience, nutrition experience, education, and I didn't have any of that. I felt completely subpar at times, but I also looked around and saw how amazing all these people were and how awesome this organization is, and I knew I wanted to be part of it. So I decided to try it. I moved to Gloucester, Massachusetts, and I started serving at Backyard Growers. Immediately, it was a blur of harvesting and taste tests, and I was like, oh my God, I'm doing it. I'm playing veggie games, and I'm walking around with my I tried it stickers, and as I was walking around at my first school, a kid stuck out. He was sitting with a bunch of his friends, and he had tried my samples, but his friends did not want to. So I was walking over with my stickers in hand, and I was going to try to get him to try it. But as I was walking up, this little boy stood up, and he told his friends, "You have to try new things. Otherwise, you'll never find new things you like." They all tried it, they all loved it, and it was fantastic. At one of my other schools, a little girl did the same thing. She didn't want to try my samples, but no matter what I did, and no matter what her friends did, she wouldn't try the samples. But that struck me just as much, because I realized that that little girl was me. When I was a kid, I was a picky eater, and I was stubborn. And I wouldn't have tried your squash sample no matter how many I tried it stickers you gave me. But that girl really struck me, and I knew that I wanted to try to help her and get her to try it the next time I was in her school. I went on to Massachusetts, our host site at the Food Project for our state training, and I was sitting in the garden at the Food Project, and I was terrified again, because I was looking at all of the after-school programs and in-school lessons and taste tests and workshops that I was planning. And I was completely overwhelmed. But Jay Harrison, our Massachusetts host site supervisor, he gave me some great advice, the whole group of us. And he told us that anytime someone comes to you wanting to build a garden, you have to ask yourself a few questions. You have to ask, who's going to work in this garden? What are they going to grow? How are you going to use that? And basically, why are you having this garden? What's the purpose? So I took that with me, went back to my service, and we were building gardens, we were building low tunnels, we were planting things, we were harvesting things. The kids were having a great time cooking and learning and eating, and it was great, but I felt completely disjointed. I felt like I didn't know what I was working toward. So that went on until January, when I was working with my site supervisor, Laura, sitting at a rickety old rocking chair next to her desk, and we were talking about a presentation we were giving at a conference. She asked me what I thought we needed to add, and I thought about what I've learned about looking at what other people are doing. You know, scrolling through Facebook on the FoodCorps sites and seeing what people are doing in Hawaii and Arkansas and just other places in Massachusetts. And that can be really daunting because these people are doing amazing things. But then I thought about the conversations I have with them on the phone or when we meet up like this, and hearing about the little steps that they took and hearing about why they did what they did and how that really puts it into perspective that they have days too when you shovel more than you serve lately, or you send more emails and then you plant seeds. So I thought about all that, and then I thought about Jay. And I asked myself, what is the purpose of the gardens that I'm building? And I realized that it's really simple. What I'm doing is trying to get the kids that I work with to just try growing and eating good food. I'm bringing worm bins into a second grade class and asking them to just try holding a red wiggler for the first time. Or bringing beets to my after-school cooking class and having them try a bite for the first time of those. And I'm bringing classes out and bringing a teacher out with me, teaching the lesson myself, but having them see the connections that the kids form and the discussions that start so that maybe then they'll try bringing their class out too. And I'm doing taste tests that have the kitchen managers try having produce in their kitchen, even if I prepare it, so that maybe then they'll try adding it to their menu. But it's not just about beets and soil and worms. It's about creating a whole culture of trying things. It's having my kids in my after-school middle school program go out in their garden and build a bed, handing them a power tool for the first time, and even though it's loud and a little scary, having them use it. And then at the end of that class, if we have a little extra time, It's letting them turn on Taylor Swift and teach each other new dances. Because sometimes they just need to try that too. Because I know that when I was a kid, I wouldn't have tried that dance. I wouldn't have sang along to The Dirt Made My Lunch, and I wouldn't have tried your sample. But luckily for me, that changed. In college, I completely fell in love with food and agriculture, and I had this amazing friend. And I really, really trusted her, and we were so comfortable with each other that we would just try new things all the time. We would try cooking almost every night. If I wanted to try a new recipe, we would try it. If she brought back a new fruit or a new vegetable, we would try it. Sometimes we messed up a little, sometimes things didn't turn out great, but I learned that trying new things, especially with food, make me happy. So that's what I want to take back to that little girl this spring, and that's what I wish someone had taught me. And that's what I want to teach every kid that I work with. Is that the easiest thing that you can do to get the most out of your life is to try things. Just try things.